420, 420, for 20 long years. I smoked lots of reefer, drank lots of beer. Every day at 420, we're going to settle the score. And for 20 long years, it's been 20 past 4.
Hello, welcome to 420 Live. Jeff Kravitz. Welcome to the Friday edition, the first full week of the year, and you cannot believe what's happened in 1 week. From Kim Ye getting divorced to the revolution starting on your television. They always said it would be televised, and yeah, we got a front row seat this week. Yesterday, what a show with Noel Castler. I want to thank him for coming on and speaking truth. You know, it's we're in a really interesting place right now in our history, folks, and we all have the front row seat. We're all watching the tapes over and over again. Now all these people that went to the Capitol are all begging for their jobs back and, oh, please don't come arrest me. I was just kidding when I hung off the side of the Capitol. And what were you expecting, really? You know, my favorite story today was unfortunately 5 people died, including the police officer there. But my favorite death was of the 5. Not that I have a favorite death, but cause of death was supposedly one of the guys was taking off a picture of Tip O'Neill off the wall, and he had his taser in his pants. And while he was doing it, the taser fired multiple times into his genitals and killed him with a heart attack. And I just got to say, that could be the worst way to go. First of all, taking the picture of Tip O'Neill off the wall isn't getting any brownie points at home when you bring that sucker in. And then, come on, right into the nuts like that. When you think about worst ways to die, I would think zapping your nuts until you have a heart attack would be right up there in like top 1, 2, or 3. So these stories roll in. You know, there's some very scary sides of this also that we talked about yesterday with Noel. But, you know, today we have our good friend Billy Nathan. Billy runs Lantern Farms in Mendocino County. And Lantern Farms is the very people that provided the Green Lantern, which is a strain, came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, like, here's the Green Lantern. And one taste, and he knew it was something spectacular. So Billy's waiting on the side. We're going to see him in a couple minutes. But I'm still trying to process how big the first week of the year's been and everything we've been through. BuzzFeed had a crazy thing. There were 20 different things that went on that are just all like, you're just like, can't believe it. If this is the way 2021's going and our first week is already every day a huge Dr. Dre had a hell of a day. Not only did the wife say that she found $266 million in stock in Apple and cash, but that was on the TMZ. And then 4 hours later, he's in the hospital with an aneurysm. Fortunately, he survived. Thank you, because he's a huge talent. We want Dr. Dre around for a long year. But while he was in the hospital, his house got robbed. And they went in, and there was a chase right down Sunset Boulevard. He lives very close to where I do. I mean, he's on the other side of the tracks. So we were sitting there watching television in our house. All of a sudden, you could hear the copters going around, and we're like, oh, boy, what's going on? We have to go out there and see what's going on. We could see the helicopter up there on Sunset. We had no idea. And then the next day, of course, Dr. Dre's house gets broken into. So, the shadow on it. Thank you, Zorn. There it is. Zorn, my photographer, keeping me honest here. Yeah, I moved my mic and my light. So there you go. Is that better? No more shadows. Anyway, thanks again to Noel Castler. I'm going to have him back on when we do the inauguration too, because I think that that's a hell of a week and we have a lot to talk about. With Noel, it's no shortage of things to talk about. Some great stories, just an overall amazing human being. And the show, the viewers on that show, the way it catches fire on Twitter is like unlike anything I've seen. Almost 20,000 people have already viewed the show across our different mediums. And by far, he is our most watched guest. And that includes everybody from Tommy Chong to Stuart Copeland, everybody I've had on the show. So cheers to Noel. And today we're going to meet Billy. I know Billy's dying to get on because he's sitting there waiting to get high with me. And I have my roach that I've had from my original pack of Garcia Handpicked here. And everybody, welcome Billy Nathan from Lantern Farms.
Hi, I'm actually going to hit some rosin with you.
Okay, good. You got your little Puffco there.
Yeah, and a joint. Why not do them both?
I love it. Did it vibrate yet?
It's on red. I like it hot. So
you like it hot, but doesn't that crush the flavor a little bit?
Not really. I want to make sure I'm getting a good hit. You know, the rosin's not cheap.
The rosin's not cheap.
No, it's like anywhere from 50 to 100 a gram. But
that's wholesale. That's in the shops, right?
Yes. But I mean, I like to go in and actually support the shops myself, even though I'm a farmer. I love to go into all the dispensaries and support all the other people doing their crafts. And I really love to try everybody's extracts and double hit.
There. Oh, I like that. Look at that. Puffco's going at it.
But anyway, thank you so much for having me on the show.
Billy, thank you for the Green Lantern. Let me tell you something. The first time I tried this, our buddy Brett, I was doing a jam session in LA, and our buddy Brett came up. Brett Reeser, and he's like, Kravitz, you got to try this Green Lantern. It's a new Garcia strain. And, you know, like everybody else, I was sure that the Garcia strain was just going to be another hyped up with no balls to it. You know, a lot of these strains, they have big names attached to them, and then the weed's nothing special. And I took one hit off that joint, and I was like, this is weed that Jerry Garcia would be proud to put his name on.
No, for sure. And another beautiful fact is Jerry bought his friend a piece of property across the valley from us. So in Mendocino, Jerry's friend Laird, his property overlooks us. So Jerry's kind of overlooking the crop as it's growing, and Wavy Gravy's right down the street. There's a bunch of cool heads in Laytonville. But
how long have you been growing up in Mendo?
Since 2000. I had a great friend that said, hey, Billy, I didn't pick moving to Mendocino. He said, hey, I know where I can get you a piece of property. And I said, great. And it ended up being in Laytonville, and it's been the biggest blessing of my life. The community's great. The climate, being up at 2,500 feet elevation, that much closer to the sun, with the coastal influences, our appellation, the herb just turns out phenomenal.
Yeah, well, I've heard that a lot of the growers really it's kind of like wine with elevation and soil and stuff like that.
It is. And, you know, the herb plant wants to be loved. It wants to be taken care of. It wants to be visited. It wants to be pruned. It likes the interaction. And there are some days when it's so still out and it's 100 degrees, you can see the plant shaking and growing as you're watching it. It's amazing.
Wow. How much land do you have up there? How many acres you growing?
320 acres, but there's not a lot that's really flat. It's very rugged and country and mountainous, and that's how we like it. In the beginning, everybody wanted to be as far out the road as possible. Now, being further out the road can make it a little harder to get licensed by the state because of certain issues with your road or buildings or things that might have been done on the property before you got it.
So 2000, you said you moved up there in 2000. Yeah. That was medical, or were you black market?
It was medical. You could do 99 plants a person. I ended up getting my first script at Dr. Milan Hopkins. If you've heard of Milan Hopkins, he worked hand in hand with Eddie Lepp, who was another cannabis crusader. So, you know, I ended up moving to Humboldt in 1988. My friend Tro Patterson said, Billy, I know where we can get cheap pot. Let's move to Humboldt. So I was fortunate enough to search out the cannabis. I wasn't born into it. My parents never smoked it. It just became this life, and it's been a great community.
So 20 years ago, you move in, it's medical. You're doing 99 plants up there. What strains are you growing?
Your Granddaddy Purples, your Trinity, the Super Skunk, some seeds that had come over from Sensi Seed in Amsterdam. But I worked for a guy in the early 90s named Dumper Dave that's a Humboldt legend. He was labeling his strains in the, mid 80s, late 80s. He loved his cannabis more than anyone. He still grows to this day. And I just got a lot of great genetics from him. And
not really knowing what the genesis of it was.
No, his genetics he knew, but as I started to work down in the hills of southern Humboldt, I would bring clones down from northern Humboldt so that we could try different variations, because clones weren't that popular in the early 90s. It was all about seeds. And then as indoor cultivating started to take shape, people had to make a lot of clones because clones can be expensive.
Well, and also the Sea of Green became really famous, where people were growing smaller plants
Yeah, the Sea of Green was great. You could plant them really close to one another if you pruned up every little bit of them, and all you had were these beautiful tops, really consistent, super yummy. There was a story, there's a famous strain called TC, the Trinity, and it was from Eugene, Oregon, and I had a friend bring down 3 clones. It was 75 a clone. That was unheard of. And he jumps on the quad. We take off. One of the plants flies off the quad. It breaks. I'm like, ah! But anyway, so we've been blessed with the strains. Most of the cultivators I know in southern Humboldt, northern Humboldt, they're all amazing farmers, and Dumper in particular is the best I've ever been around.
Yeah, what? And you do full farm outdoor?
Yes, we do light deprivation and full sun. The thing I really like about light deprivation, you get more light on your plant in the summer compared to the fall. You get 12 hours of pure sun in the spring, in the summer. In the fall, you get 8 hours of light. The herb for the light deprivation is amazing.
So with the light depth, you have the lights inside the grow house.
Well, you can have lights in a central greenhouse and then move those plants to their other spaces if you like the size they're at, plant them, and then start pulling the tarps. Or you can have lights in those greenhouses in particular, yes.
So your full sun outdoor, is that on like open field, right?
Yes. Oh, I love that. And I have done something called sucking a nug. It's in the fall when you have your beautiful flowers and a bunch of mist and dew is on your flower, and you go out and you suck the end of the nug and you get this amazing THC rush. It's nothing like anything else.
Sucking the nugs.
Oh my God. And the Blue Dream in particular that year was phenomenal.
All right. We have a question from my friend Cheech. Cheech is down in St. John. I was down there with him and his brother Hash.
Yeah.
And he wants to know, what is the distribution channels for your operation? Is it only CA dispensaries?
Yes, it is only CA dispensaries. And we're so happy to work with Redwood Roots, who's been a lifelong friend. Liberty Cannabis through Brett, who introduced us. Bear Extracts up in Humboldt. Sisu, a bunch of different distributors. Everybody's been amazing. So we've been really happy. And if there are other farms out there in other states, Lantern Farms would love to help you. The Green Lantern won the first ever state licensed sun-grown cannabis competition in 2018, the Emerald Cup. It was grown by my friend Jason Gelman, who owns Ridgeline Farms, and he's a part of the Lant family. So we're very small. The Lantern is only grown by about 8 farms. I put up 10. I'm 8 farms, pretty much in the world. It's such a rare strain.
Well, yeah, I had never heard of it before. What's the genetics behind the Green Lantern? There's definitely an OG.
It was one seed in a bag that turned into a female. And there's a story about me and the person I got it from, who was an indoor cultivator. And I would get different types of purple strains from them. And they liked it, but they didn't, because it didn't produce and nobody knew it. And I've loved it. It's been about 8 years, and I've loved the Green Lantern with all my might, and they didn't want it anymore. And it's morphed into this beautiful thing because I believed in this strain, and it's powerful.
It's powerful, potent. It's it's up. It's not really.
Well, and it's great for appetite. If anybody, needs to get any patients need to get their appetite up, burn some Green Lantern. If you need to sleep, insomnia, do a puff about 30 minutes before you go to bed. then it can really get you in the zone to take a great, cat nap.
And how did Garcia Handpicked come in? I mean, I heard a long time that they were working on this.
Friend, Brett Resner.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. So Brett, through Redwood Roots, reached out to me, and meeting Brett, we've hit it off right away. I got him a Reggie Jackson baseball card because I found out he's big into baseball. And R.I.P. Tommy Lasorda. Sorry.
Oh yeah, today a sad day for the Dodger fans.
I'm a Giant fan though, so we're not.
Well, you're up north. Come on.
No. My dad was born in New Rochelle in the 30s, so I'm an original Giant.
Oh, Giant, like East Coast.
Yes. Well, they moved to San Francisco in 1958. But anyway, sorry. Go back to the question.
So you met Brett. You gave him the card.
Oh, no. I met Brett, and Brett reached out. Brett knows the powerful nature of the Green Lantern, and he said, hey, I'd like to help you, get involved with Liberty, and, they would love the Lant. So I gave Brett a pound, and I said, please go let him sample it.
And they loved it, right?
Yeah. And it's really, and I'm glad that they bought our best flower. They didn't buy littles. They bought the best flower, and they rolled it into the Garcia Handpicked for the Green Lantern. And I'm going and buying it back myself because I want it.
And was what they got all the outdoor stuff that would be in the open field full sun?
They got both light deprivation and full sun.
And how much of a difference would you say there is? Like, do you have a preference?
No, anything Green Lantern I love. I don't care what it is. Lower branch, wispy nug, anything. I just love the lantern.
And have you taken it indoors?
Yes, we have on real small scale. A lot of the times people are growing. For me and the people who I've always been around, we always grew what we wanted to smoke first. That's what we grew. We weren't worried about the other stuff because we knew what the best was. Everybody else is going to love what we have. So,
what are a couple other your favorite strains?
This year, have you heard of Forbidden Fruit?
Yeah, that's an older strain,
no, we're
right?
Gonna have Forbidden Lant.
Forbidden Lant.
And then we have a cross made by, I had given the seeds to Jason at Ridgeline Farms. He crossed the Lant with the Runts, and he's spelling that ALNTZ. And he won back-to-back Emerald Cups, 2018, 2019. Now, there's only a few farms that have the genetics of those 2 years, ours and a couple others. We really, if there's people that we would love to get involved with, people that need the help. There are farms that are struggling, and, we want to help with our strain. Elevate.
Right. Well, what's your feeling now that Biden's in, and we're looking at someone who's probably going to be a little bit more hoping? I mean, that he's going to be a little bit more forgiving.
Compared to the way it was with Clinton and Bush, that's a whole. You can't even compare what the cannabis industry was like back then compared to what it's like now. Right now, it's going into a cupcake shop. They're on the black markets as crazy as ever.
I've never seen anything like the black market right now.
I mean, now what cannabis is the thing that's going to save the world. It's going to bring every city, every commercial building, every retail shop. But when it's done the right way, it's great, and it's going to save the planet. We already know it's been found, King Solomon's grave. I mean, it's been found everywhere. So.
Well, yeah, we all know it. And basically our country turned their back on cannabis for the past 100 years, pretty much. And now we're finally, in the past couple decades, starting to come out the other side.
Jeff, the thing with now is the suits want to be the roots when they weren't the ones that laid the roots. The suits come in with money and, money. Cannabis for the original people was never about money. It was about the love of herb and having your freedom to go into the hills and grow this plant and in the 90s, it was like Vietnam in the hills of southern Humboldt. The helicopters were coming down, blowing trees open, people hanging down from bungee cords. Now it's cupcake stuff. So, and I think with
everybody's on board, but how are there black
markets are on board? All the people in the hills and all the people that stood for this from the beginning, they're not the ones that are center news. It's all Aurora or Cureleaf. Some of these they're all great. I love the cannabis world. I have 420canada.com. I'm waiting. I've got so many 420 domain names, it's not even funny. Even cannabis and winepairing.com. Anyway, just going off on a tangent. I'm sorry about that one.
No, not at all. I mean,
the thing with Biden is, yeah, great. Make it so everybody can grow and do this, and it's great.
Well, first of all, there's a process. And the process begins, first of all, with changing the classification on cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2 or Schedule 3, where it has medical uses and you're able to invest in it and you're able to – and then the other would be, and I see Cheech coming in here talking about this, but the main thing is that we have federal legalization would be the second step. So reclassification of the plant.
The roots need to be the ones, not the suits. The suit – hey,
well, how does that happen unless because the roots have to get together and basically become suits to be able to get to the table?
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. I don't know the answer to that, but
usually we do that with union.
People still don't trust the systems that they're dealing with. People going for state permits right now, they're waiting, or they're even with the counties, or they can't get somebody out to do this, or there's still a lot of hangups in trying to go legal for people. And, I just hope that gets easier. And, they open it up federally banking. You know what I mean? That's going to be great. There's another windfall for them. And I heard John Sally, you know who John Sally is?
Yes.
Fellow vegetarian. I'm a veggie. He's a vegan, whatever. Anyway, so John's doing something that I saw where he was about ensuring the cannabis community in some sort of way, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, so, well, getting it out of Schedule 1 will open it up to banking also. That's part.
But that's for the suits. That's for the suits, not the roots, as in you too. The roots.
No. I've got it, but you know what? It's a big business, and you can see everybody getting in. And it's really looking at the business of cannabis, which is really interesting. There was an article this week, and it was about how these small cities, all of a sudden, these governments in these small cities are in control of issuing these licenses. And I think it was the guy in Kansas. He was a 23-year-old mayor, and you had to give him like $500,000 to get your license. And he just got arrested, and he's going down. I mean, so there's all of a sudden these small businesses. And I was invested in a grow out in Desert Hot Springs. It was the same thing. It was like every time you went to go deal with the city, there'd be a new guy there to deal with, and you had to hire his attorney, and you had to pay these fees. So they keep moving the goalposts and making it harder and harder for the grower to stay involved. So
you're right. But guess what? Everything going on in the world is stuff we love. Organic food, vegan, vegetarian, sports gambling, fantasy sports. I do fantasy sports. I love sports. The environment's first and foremost right now. TikTok, believe it or not, TikTok. I've learned more on TikTok.
You sound like my 20-year-old here.
No, on stocks. I'm talking about stocks. Vegetarian, vegan cooking. I don't know if you've seen that on TikTok.
No, every time my kids go to make something, they're pulling up TikTok to get the recipe.
Not make something. I'm talking about learning about all the stocks like MindMeds and
right.
And Plug and CLSK. I've learned a ton from TikTok, not watching people dance. It's real content about real estate, this or that. It's really cool, but they don't like me sitting on there doing a Puffco. They cut me off, so. Anyway,
all right. So I want to talk about the regulation, because in California especially, which is where you're involved, the overregulation is squeezing a lot of these small businesses out of existence. People cannot survive with the fees they're paying, and we're watching the black market increase at a level that is even stronger than it was before it went legal.
The black market's going to save the communities. The white market can't save the communities. As you said, it's so hard to get licensed. The black market, that's what saves Mendocino, Trinity, Humboldt, Sonoma, all these places. They can't, all the black market, they can only hit less than 1% of them. You know what I mean? So it really does help the economy.
Well, are they not enforcing it up there in Trinity County like they used to?
They will enforce it if your neighbor turns you in or somebody complains about you, they'll come visit you. But if they hit everybody, there would be nobody.
Well, no, I did watch Murder Mountain about a month ago, and they were watching those squads of cars go through the valley and pulling up to the farm.
Murder Mountain, that's the first place that I was asked to grow herb for someone. Me and 2 friends were on contract for £1 for the whole year. And the helicopters came in September and cut down all the herb. And I'll never forget it, what the cops said. I know about Murder Mountain. It's actually called Rancho Sequoia. And it's an 1,100 acre piece of property that was cut into 10-acre slivers. So imagine so many people living on top of each other, because most properties are 400 acres or 300 acres for one person. They had 100 families living in these really tight area of Rancho Sequoia. But I have friends that are 2nd and 3rd generation from the city that's 4 miles from there. And, you know, Murder Mountain's got a lot of negative energy, and it was a trippy place. And John Riley, the guy in it, the old guy in the end, I saw him when I worked there walking around with a gun strapped around him. He was a vet. You know, the cannabis, when it was $5,000 and $6,000 a pound, that, you know, you only needed to grow 20 pounds. Right. But that was still hard to do. You know, they didn't make it easy. So,
well, it's interesting. You talk about pricing, and I heard that there are some pounds out there that are $5,000, $6,000 a pound now.
You're right. It's indoor, and it makes me laugh because the only reason indoor's worth more is because you have to pay rent and electricity, is what I was told, because it's nowhere near the same flavor, energy level. The sun is 3,000 times more powerful a square foot than a light. So anyway, I love it for people to make money, and, you know, people do grow insane herb indoors, but I smoke less than 0.5% indoor in a year. So I don't even smoke indoor. When you got when you're growing your herb, you know, it's really hard to smoke other people's stuff because you really don't know what they put in it or how they treat it, you know? Right. And I have some great people, Big Chuck, Sam, Housey, they've come around and helped and been amazing. And there's a lot of great people that have been there for me in my life. The first guy to ever, I don't know if you can see this shirt, but
yeah, I actually have one of those shirts.
Okay, but the lion crushing the camp helicopter.
Oh, is that what it is?
No, right there, it's the lion crushing the camp helicopter. But somebody I met in 1988 brought me to trim herb, and this was his family's logo. And I asked if I could buy it off of them, and I did. And they're like, Billy, you're the only one that we would sell it to. You know what I mean? And they weren't doing it. And this is my favorite logo on earth. And I love the Garcia Handpicked, of course. I don't know. I feel like I'm backing up a freaking trailer right now with everything's opposite. It's weird.
Yeah.
But these are insane. I went in and bought, and I supported the other farmers as well. You know, I want to try their herb. This place in Humboldt, Herb and Market.
Yeah, there you go.
They supply the Garcia Handpicked. I got to meet them and become great friends through Judah, Flagman Judah, who is usually on stage with Damian Marley.
I know exactly who that is.
Okay, Judah's been a really great friend over the last couple years. Super positive, great energy, and he introduced me to the Urban Market family, Crystal and Deborah. They're amazing. So it's great to be up here in the roots, you know, the Emerald Triangle. This is like it almost gets annoying because all everybody does talk about is herb. You know what I mean? You're like, God, can we talk about something besides weed? But no, That's all we do is talk urban.
All right. Well, Cheech has an involved question here, and I'm trying to get my head around it. Let's see. It says, with all the award accolades and original legendary strains, do you guys see opportunities for export as a premium product similar to what the wine industry has done out of California? Regulations are ever changing, but I wonder when direct-to-consumer sales nationality begins with regulated mailing via FedEx UPS.
That's going to be great because we can have our own CSA programs. And in California, I think right now I could have people sign up for a program like a wine club.
Oh, you can.
So I want to say so. So
shipping it over the mail or through private?
Just in California.
Wow.
You can ship wine in California, but you can't ship it to certain states. You know what? There's
well, you probably have to pay taxes based on what state you're shipping the wine into, right? Like anything else, and it's probably
being glad, whatever. So anyway,
well, I ultimately, how much can you produce in a year? What's your production?
Well, we're a really small farm. That's why ours is so craft. I mean, just like the finest wine. Tell me a winery that has like 50 rows and they're growing the best wine on earth. That's what we are. We only have 10,000 square feet. So we can supply anywhere from 500 to 1,000 pounds of Green Lantern. And
so that's what you pull in a year.
And we also have some amazing crosses. I can't even, Runts cross, Pink Rosé.
Well, Runts is one of my favorite strains right now. Yeah. It's absolutely delicious.
I really like the flavor of the Runts, and I really love the Skittles and the cherries, and you know.
I agree. The Skittles, watermelon Skittles is a phenomenal strain I've tried this year. It's delicious.
Yeah. I've been also, I buy a lot of extracts, and I've tried the watermelon Skittles. It was pretty yummy. Was it from Fields or was it from the Skittles team? I'm not sure.
Yeah, mine was from 710 Labs. It was delicious.
Okay, yeah.
Everybody's growing that now. I mean, it's a delicious.
Well, that's the beauty, and that's why Green Lantern is so rare in everything we have, because nobody has it. If you have what everybody else has, it's really finite. What makes the difference of the love that you put into the plant. But when you have a completely different strain that you're putting the energy into and trying to make it the best you can, this is a really cool poster. Do you know who Califari is?
Let's see it.
They did this for the strain Green Lantern.
Oh, that's great. Oh yeah, I saw that art, I think, on your page.
Yeah, they're Califari. They're really cool. They did this crazy one too.
Oh yeah.
But they're really heady people, and stoked they did that because it went away from the Marvel comic guy or whoever he is. Now this is the Green Lantern. You know what I mean?
Right.
So see the lantern?
I got you. Instead of the Green Lantern from the comic strip.
Yeah. So, but in the community up here, are you familiar with Redwood Roots?
Well, I know I'm not, but I drove through Mendo and through I drove through Trinity County when I drove down from, and you're so far away up there from like San Francisco. It's almost like 5 or 6 hours, right?
Well, no, Laytonville's only 2.5.
Oh, 2.5.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. But I mean, I remember going to the Haight After Dead shows because we didn't sell all of our herb. So we would be walking up and down the Haight selling herb to all the people from the shows that had gone to the Haight. We were the first people to go to the Dead shows in 88, 89 with Humboldt on our hats because we had moved to Humboldt. We had the first 420 party. Talk about 420. I mean, I'll tell you about 420.
Let's hear it.
We were the first people to have an actual 420-day party in Humboldt in 1989. Everybody had to pitch in on a half pound, and it was like $68 for a quarter ounce. And my senior year in 1988, my football picture, I'm 44 next to 20 forming a 420 before I knew about it. Later on, nice smoke ring. Later on that year, so 1988, so in Humboldt at the Dead shows, 420. Yeah, that was us.
That's classic. Yeah, I remember going up to my first shows in Oakland in the early 90s, and I'd see the 420. I'd be like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah, well, and for us, it's about being able to praise Jah, smoke herb with your friends worldwide when you know you're doing it at the same time, and that's 420.
Yep. Well, that's how I start. I actually started the show to hang out and smoke weed with people. That was my original.
And I love what they say about Jerry and why it was so important to have a joint line, because they said that Jerry loved to just sit down and bring people together and conversate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was really cool.
He liked to talk. I met him twice, 2 days in a row.
That's right.
We talked each time for about a half an hour.
Wow.
So,
which city are you from?
Originally, I'm from Atlantic City.
Okay, cool.
And now I'm in Santa Monica, California.
Awesome. I spent quite a bit of time in Ventura, Santa Barbara. A great friend, Dean, lives in Manhattan Beach, who Brett just went and said hi to. So anyway, good times, good times. What are some other questions?
Well, I'm just, my curiosity is mostly like how you survive in the legal business with a small farm doing artisanal.
Well, right now,
because I know you have a lot of fees and taxes and stuff like that.
You're right. And
now, a lot of people are getting squeezed out.
Yep. We're going to be paying, 30% taxes.
Yeah, you pay 30% more. If you order $300 worth of weed, by the time you get it, it's $450.
But down in LA, no, I'm saying when I pay my federal taxes.
Oh, when you pay your federal taxes.
Yeah, so I'm saying that, I'm excited about it. I'm really happy to see how it's going to turn out.
But I'm just saying I've been reading nothing about how the California climate in the cannabis industry is impossible to survive, and how the whole road to legalization is paved with the dead bodies of people that tried and failed. How do you survive?
Those people that tried and failed had never tried before. Most of the people that are failing have never done it before, because if you know what you're getting into when you think you're coming to just grow herb and it's just going to grow itself, if you get any sort of bugs or any issues that you're not familiar with and you don't have a microscope to identify or take it to your local nursery, you're going to lose everything. So that happened to a bunch of people.
Well, I mean, my thing is, how do you operate in the climate that's overtaxed and overwrought and not made for the grower?
Well, you don't have a choice. And compared to when you sign up to do it legally, now you have to do it legally. So I'm excited to do it that way, and blessed with being with the Garcia Handpicked, or being involved in people that love herb the same way we do. Mm-hmm. That's what I like about it. So,
You're in a niche industry in the park. Yeah. You grow something that's so unusual and specific, and I think that Cheech is actually talking about this again. He's saying you're sitting on a gold mine, like Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams is going to work when you want to go to work and doing what you want to do. Correct? That's the Field of Dreams. But yes, I mean, we just love herb. No, and it's great when you're working in the hills. Nobody's telling you when you can smoke or when you can't. you can wake up, love to get up super early and watch the sunrise and go to bed when the sun goes down and grow your food on your property. I mean, it's amazing. And I'm really stoked that people are getting back to those roots through this pandemic, which is super sad in the way it's being shaped. But the fact that everybody's going to be working where they want to be, living where you want to live. That's why you pay to live in Santa Monica, is because now during this, you get to go enjoy 4th Street, 3rd Street Promenade, go to Venice Beach if it was open.
Well, Venice Beach is open, but Promenade,
Okay, but you know what I mean? Just being able to cruise around Malibu and drive down.
Hey, listen, you pay. We all pay a lot of taxes to live in California. The tax rate's incredibly high for all of us. I just wonder with the competition. I mean, you have a unique product. There's not a lot of people out there are just growing the same couple of things all over. Like they pick the strain of the month, and it's like, okay, we're all going to grow blue green.
Those people didn't move to Humboldt in '88 and love weed and know what was great. Now, if for some reason I had to grow just the run of the mill stuff, I don't know what I do, because I can't. We don't have that. And when people are like, nobody I know grows bad weed. Everybody grows great herb that I know. So, yeah, organic and yummy. That's what we want. So.
I love it. So what year did you switch fully legal?
2019. So last year.
Oh, so just last year.
Yeah.
So you were running on a little sideways there for a while. Were you still under the medical umbrella?
Yes, we were doing medical, and we took our own notes. When you first got into it, you wrote your own notes down, and you went and made your county stuff, and you still made your payments.
Right, and now you have the regulation.
What?
You have the regulation. Each plant has to be tagged. It's a barcode. Has from blown all the way to dried product, right?
Yeah. Yes, and. Yeah, I mean, it's good for the consumer. So if there was anything bad, they'd be able to get it out. But all of our stuff's been testing great and real high THC percentages. So we're super excited. And, there's a lot of different ways people grow, which creates different levels of THC. You know what I mean? So it's really unique. And I think that's somebody in California came up with this competition where they gave everybody the same plants, and then they were going to do a competition. Now, I don't know if that got off the ground, but I had heard about it at the beginning of the year.
What are some of do you want to share any of your, I wouldn't say trade secrets, but some of your techniques that you've learned over the years that you think other people should know about?
It's just really important to use your organic ingredients and, top dress with different guanos or different nitrogen that you like that's organic. And, just being able to hand feed over the top and then water nutrients over that. Or if you go to water that day and you didn't set up your tea tank, you can just water the plant and you're still going to get the nutrients from the top dressing. So just top dress, and hopefully it gets hot enough. Cannabis really loves heat. That's why the summer months are the herb is so powerful.
Well, it issues the oils to keep the plant from frying, right?
I don't know that deep of the science. If I know that the oils to try to attract the pollen, right? Yeah. Well, sounds amazing. I don't want to know for that.
Well, no, it's the reason we have Sensimilia, because once they go into production, they stop creating the resin.
No, you're right. That's amazing. I'm excited. I can't wait. Every year, the people that would be helping us trim the herb would be like, "Oh, can we come back next year?" And I'd be like, "If I see you next year, I will be so happy. Yes, you can come back next year."
Right. It's good. How many people would you say you need to pull a crop?
To pull a crop, it takes a few guys if you want to do it right. You know what I mean? When you harvest, you don't want to just throw the plants down, right? You want to pick it, maybe take off some of the bigger fan leaves, cut a little niche in it to a hook to hang on, or, different things like that. I had created this thing called the Picker Pal, which was a tomato cage with legs, excuse me, that you could bring, you could bring the tomato cage with legs next to your plant, and you would cut little branches off at a time, and then you put them around the ring of the tomato cage so that the bud never gets smashed.
You keep them nice and fluffy.
Yeah, so they never get smashed, because if you lay them on top of each other, or you cut down a 3-pound plant, you throw it over your back, you know what I mean? The nug, you could be dragging a nug.
That's your fruit.
No, you're
damaging your fruit.
And, it is special to have people that you work with or you're involved with that really love herb as well. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. The one thing about herb is that millions love it, and millions are finally coming around.
I know. I mean, commercial property is everything now. I mean, that can really help people in the cities they're in. I mean, land is now a gold rush again. And, You know, it's not the
Well, it
people.
depends on the city, not so much in San Francisco, huh?
Well, you know, you're right. My aunt has lived in SF since 67. So those people, you know, they're getting their city back. But yeah, the technology's been hard. I lived in Aptos for a little bit, and just driving through San Jose, it's kind of incredible that these houses in San Jose are worth this when there's only Apple there or these tech companies. So
Well, yeah, well, that's why the people want to live close to work, so they're not commuting.
but now they don't have to. Now they're saying go to Lake Tahoe. So now the price in Tahoe, everything tripled.
Right, because nobody needs to go to the office anymore. That's where we are right now, at least for another year.
And I had my trips canceled in California. I was going to go up to Kirkwood and go snowboarding, and the resort wasn't allowing people to come, which is fine. But
Yeah,
then
we're in a very bad time, but thank God for you and Lantern Farm.
TMZ that showed what the Kardashians were in Aspen at their place, and everybody was pissed at that. So I know.
Well, you know, the difference is that they fly private.
No,
you know, they have a chauffeur pick them up in a nice car, take them up to their $93 million rental.
Do you have any favorite sports teams?
Well, I'm from the East Coast, so yeah, South Jersey, Eagles football.
Okay.
I would say Sixers back in the day for basketball.
Oh my God, me too. I was total Sixers.
Flyers. But now, when I moved to LA, I had to switch to the Lakers because they were just so dominant.
Okay. Well, when I was living around LA, I went for the Clippers. But my friend Deho Sook, you ever heard of Deho Sook?
Mm-mm.
He's an ABC sports producer. He produces the show for Rob Fukuzaki.
Okay, I know Rob. Yeah, he's our local guy.
Yeah, Deo's a great friend, and he covers all of his favorite sports teams. I'm so jealous about that. But he's a great guy. Ooh,
yeah, I have to say, Tommy Lasordi talked about, I was proud that the Dodgers did it this year. The Lakers did it this year. We had a good sports year here in LA, and there wasn't much else to do but sit around and watch sports.
You're right, and the Kings have won a couple cups. You know what
It's been good, but you know, when I lived in Philly, it was like 1980.
Okay, wow.
So that's when I was going to college, 80 to 84, 85, 86. And Villanova won, and the Flyers won, and the Phillies won, and the Sixers won. It was just, we were in those couple years, so many different parades, and it's just amazing time.
I have my Flyer banner over there. I mean, I was almost born at a hockey game.
Oh boy.
Are you familiar with Marion? That golf course in Philly, Marion?
Oh yeah, I know where Marion is. Yeah,
I went out to the U.S. Open there to watch it because my friends were caddies, and that was a lot of fun the last time I was in Philly. But anyway, I'm glad you're doing the 420 live. 420 has been the biggest blessing. In 1990, I traveled around Israel, Egypt, and Thailand with a Team 420 hat on. I got all my pictures and everything, and I put my hat on people and then take pictures of them doing bong hits and stuff. And 420 met so many people through cannabis. It's been the gateway to so many introductions and so many great people I've met. Now you, Brett, just tons of great people. So
and you know, we all share a love for music. You got that big Steal Your Face behind you. You're involved with the Garcia brand.
Yeah, so blessed. I mean, the shows that we got to go to, the New Year's, my friend's mom owns Sweetwater in Mill Valley, Jeannie Patterson. And Tro was the guy that got me to move to Humboldt, and we got tickets to everything. And we're blessed.
Good times. Well, Billy, thank you so much for coming on today. It was great meeting you and hanging out.
And I'll get to see you after the pandemic. I got a bunch of people down in your neck of the woods, so I'd love to catch up in person. And email me your address so I can send you some new gear that I have. If you want to wear it, I'd be honored.
Excellent. And next time Brett comes to see you, get the other little package for me.
For sure, no problem. All right.
Thank you. Thanks,
Bye.
Billy.
Bye.
There you go, Billy Nathan, Lantern Farms. If you haven't tried the Garcia Handpicked, it's probably not everywhere. California, select shops. Check your weed maps. You know your resources, everybody out there. Oh, let me show you. I had Billy's Instagram here. If you want to find Billy or get any information from him, he wants to share. Lantern Farms of Mendocino is the is the Instagram there for Billy Nathan, and check out the delicious Green Lantern. Let's see. Let's talk about my sponsors. Got to talk about the sponsors. Grady's Cold Brew. I got the sock right here. You get a 20% off discount with the 420 Live code, which is right down there on the bottom. Put the code in at the Grady's Cold Brew site, and you get 20% off. A nice hefty discount. And this stuff is delicious. 36 cups of coffee in here. This is enough to keep you up for a month. Here's your month's supply. You get your Grady sack with a little tiny thing here, and you can just like sit there and drop it in very easily. The Grady's. And Grady's Cold Brew is perfect when you're, to keep you in your zone. And then Sin Lawn. We got the synthetic lawn. Yes, it's been a long year. Sinlawn.com, 420 Live. They're not doing a contest right now, but if you need synthetic lawn, environmentally friendly, because you don't want to have environmentally unfriendly lawn because your kids will get mad at you. So check out your Sin Lawn product. If you don't, my friends, and I talk with my friend Andrew Weinstock, he's like, I got such a huge lawn. And I'm like, I live in California, got a little patch. It's not spending $3,000 a year watering a patch to watch it go brown and black. So that's why we have the environmentally friendly lawn in there. Next week, we're going to be rolling into our 200th show. Today is 196. 200 on Thursday of next week. I don't know what to do. I'd like to have a big old party at Prince Street Pizza. You need some, you need Sin Laws. It's the synthetic lawn in the islands there, Cheech. I don't think so. I know you guys got plenty. Like St. John is so green. I mean, it's incredible, but it's like so rugged, jungly. Such a crazy trip. And that drive up to your house, Cheech, oh my God. It's a good thing I had the Jeep. I had some friends going there. I'm like, you need a Jeep if you're going to St. John. There is no fucking around in a regular going If you're like a tourist, you're trying to drive those roads in a regular car. Kind of crazy. Everybody have a good weekend. We're going to be here next week. And who the fuck knows what's going to happen? I mean, I'm watching TV every day like this. It's like, Oh, the lawn dries out. Oh, you mean it dries out? It's too green, too hot. Too hot. Well, I'm hoping to get back down there in St. John. I mean, I'd love to come down in February when all the posse's coming back in. So we'll see. Oh, I also want to tell you the wife has the new the Grateful Dead mask, the new Dancing Bears. Look at that. Isn't that cool? She's on Etsy, Julianne Kravitz. You can get yourself a mask. And you know what's nice about this mask? You can talk and it doesn't suck to your face back and forth. And you can actually, you have like a little pocket here to breathe, and you can drop some snacks in there. You can eat your snacks while you're wearing the mask. And then Kiki had the chains. I'm not sure what's up with this chain company, but pretty cool chain too. All right. I think I have more than enough time to finish the rest of this Green Lantern. You know what? I'll just light it up right here with you guys. Better living through cannabis. More people are smoking cannabis than are snorting cocaine. Duh, you're sitting around the house all day high on coke. Can you imagine what happens? You'd be climbing the fucking walls. More people are smoking weed now than are drinking alcohol. Sorry, Cheech. Cheech actually has a great brewery in St. John, the St. John Tap Room, and they brew some delicious beer, amongst other things. And the only Impossible Burger on the island, too. I'll be back for the Impossible Burger. Everybody have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace, love, happiness. Here's a big hug. Thank you to Billy Nathan, Lantern Farms. I'm going to have a lot more growers on. I just find it really fascinating what these guys are doing in the cannabis industry. We're also going to have some friends that are chefs that are cooking with weed. We have all kinds of things lined up for you guys. So we will see you soon. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. See you.